Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be the ultimate Fitbit review, and I am super duper excited to be filming this for you guys today because I have been planning this for a really long time and I love Fitbits and I wanted to tell you guys which Fitbit I think is right for you or right for your family member or whoever you're buying a Fitbit for. So in this video I am going to be reviewing 4 different Fitbits. I'm going to be doing kind of like quick snappy reviews of the main features on them and the things that separate the different Fitbits. The main reason why I'm doing this video is because Fitbits range from inexpensive or, less expensive to quite expensive. And I know as a consumer who's bought Fitbits myself, it can be really hard to pick the Fitbit that's right for you. I'm going to be comparing 4 of their main selling Fitbits. I'm going to be comparing the Flex 2, the Alta HR, the Charge 2 and the Fitbit Blaze. Now those are all of the main fitness wearables from Fitbit that are on the market at the moment. They also have old ones like the Charge, the regular Alta, the Flex, the original, and they do also have a maybe 2 or 3 like pedometer, like wearables that you clip onto your clothing. I haven't tried those, I've only tried the watches. There is also one other Fitbit that I'm not going to be reviewing in this video, and that is the Fitbit Surge. That is their top of the line Fitbit, their most expensive Fitbit that they have in their line at the moment when I'm filming this video. I do have a full review of that Fitbit already on my channel, so I will leave that linked off down below. I just wanted to touch on 2 more things before we get into the review. The first of which is that this video is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. Most of the Fitbits in this video were sent to me, but I have, as I mentioned before, bought Fitbits in the past, both for myself and for family members, but this video is by no means sponsored or anything like that. The other thing I did want to mention is, depending on when you're watching this video, Fitbit is actually about to bring out a new smartwatch called the Fitbit Ionic. Now that's not going to be featured in this video because it's launching in October, but I will be doing a full review on that when I receive my Fitbit. So do stay tuned for that because I'm super duper excited to share that with you guys. Okay guys, so the way that this review is going to work is I'm going to show you each of the Fitbits, I'm going to tell you the price point, and that's going to be the price on the Fitbit website, so do shop around before you make your decision. And I'm also going to tell you who I think it's a good product for, if that makes sense. So the most inexpensive Fitbit that I'm going to be talking about today is the Fitbit Flex 2. Now this one came out, I believe, last year. It's quite a new model and it's basically a tiny little tracker that goes into a silicone band. The main features about the Flex that drew me to it and made me want to try it were the fact that A, you can pop it in and out so easily because it is actually like this big. It's a tiny little rectangle, and you can pop it out from the silicone bands into really pretty jewelry style bands like silver and gold jewelry. There's a bangle and a necklace, which means that it's really great to wear if you are a person who goes to more formal events because it looks like a regular bangle or a regular necklace. Another thing that sets the Fitbit Flex apart from the other Fitbits in the line is that it is a completely waterproof, swimproof tracker. And by completely, I mean to like 50 meters depth or something like that. It's not, don't go deep sea diving with it, but going for a swim in a pool, it will work perfectly fine. It does also have technology in it that will track your laps, which is really awesome. Now, the thing with the Fitbit Flex that might put some people off, and what personally put me off of it, is that it doesn't have a screen. It has a series of lights that light up when you have texts, when you get a call, it'll light up in a different color. It also has reminders to move, which I believe is a pink dot, and it tells you that you need to get up and move 250 steps in the hour, which I think is a really good function. It reminds you to like actually do something with your day and actually move a little bit to get a little bit more active. Because the Fitbit doesn't have a proper screen, that obviously means that you can't see the time on it, you can't see your texts, but like I said, you do get that little buzz on your wrist and the lights to tell you if you do have some sort of text or call incoming. The lights also tell you how many steps you've done, so it's like 25% of your goal per light that's lit up. So if you have like 2 lights completely lit and 1 light half lit or blinking, that means you've done, I don't know, like 60% of your goal, 65% of your goal. So you can see your goals that way, but there is no big screen for you to be able to look at. All of the Fitbits that I'm mentioning today do have a silent alarm function, which means that you can set an alarm on the app. Some of the Fitbits you can set the alarms on the watch, but what it basically does is it vibrates at the time that you put and it will wake you up from sleep. I do find that all of these Fitbits are strong enough to wake me up from being completely asleep with the vibration, so that's just something to keep in mind for all of the Fitbits. Now, because the Flex 2 does not have a button of any sort, you cannot manually set the workout mode. It only tracks your workouts and your steps by itself, like it does it with something called Smart Track, which means that if you do some sort of sustained exercise for 10 minutes or more, I believe it's about 10 minutes, it will start tracking it as an exercise, like aerobic workout or running or whatever it may be. And the final feature that this Fitbit has, which all of the other Fitbits do also have, that I'm going to be talking about today at least, is sleep tracking. Now, because this Fitbit does not have a heart rate tracker, it's not going to be crazy accurate, but I do still find that it gives you a general ballpark of how long you've been sleeping for. Alright, so that's a Fitbit Flex 2. The sort of people that I would recommend this for is somebody who is primarily tracking steps, because you don't get a lot else with this. Like, it doesn't track your heart rate, it isn't super accurate with quite a few things in there. I do believe this Fitbit does not track floors because of it being waterproof. So I mean, main people that will be wanting to buy this is somebody who just wants a cheaper Fitbit that can track steps and a Fitbit that can track your swimming. And it is quite inexpensive, it's very small on the wrist, so that's the Fitbit Flex 2. Now the next step up in the Fitbit line is the Fitbit Alta HR. Now this is one of my favourite Fitbits that I've actually ever tried. I do really like it. It's very slim on the wrist, not that much bigger than the Flex 2 actually, but this one does have a screen, which is amazing. The thing itself, the little tracker itself, clips on and off of the bands, so you can interchange it with leather and metal bands as well. Now, the Alta HR is really cool because it is so slimline. You can either have the watch face being a vertical watch face or a horizontal watch face, which is really cool. Personally, when I used my Alta HR, I did use it as a vertical watch face because it was a lot easier to look at when I flicked my wrist. Because it does have a screen, you do get a little bit more with it as opposed to the Flex 2. You do get the time, you do get a tracking of your goals. Like if you tap the screen, it'll cycle through all of your metrics for the day, like your calories, you know, your calories burned, your steps, your floors, all of that sort of jazz on the watch, rather than having to go to the app to see that like you do with the Flex 2. But the great thing about the Alta HR, and the one thing that put me off of the original Alta, is that it does have a heart rate monitor. And I do find, for the most part, all of the Fitbit heart rate monitors to be very, very accurate, apart from when you're doing something like HIIT cardio. Like it takes a while to build up your heart rate, like it takes a while to track your heart rate getting higher, and then by the time it's got your high heart rate, your heart rate generally would have fallen back down. So there can be a little bit of discrepancy there, but only at a high heart rate. Having the heart rate monitor means that everything is going to be more accurate. Your calorie tracking is going to be more accurate, your sleep tracking is going to be more accurate. I definitely recommend, if you guys want my genuine opinion, buy any of the Fitbits that have a heart rate monitor, because they are so much more accurate than the Fitbit Flex, because they just have more metrics, more data to make sense of everything. The Alta HR is not waterproof. None of the other current Fitbits are waterproof, but other than that, it has all of the same functions as the Flex 2. It's got smart tracking, so if you do any sort of exercise for more than 10 minutes, it's going to track it. It also has sleep tracking and silent alarms. As I said, I do find the sleep tracking to be more accurate when you do have the heart rate kind of monitor inbuilt. Even though the Alta has a screen, it does not have a button, so you cannot manually start a workout mode, which in my opinion is a little bit iffy, because it's frustrating because sometimes you might miss a few minutes here and there before and after your workouts, so I do like the option to be able to manually set the workout mode. Those are the main features of the Alta HR. I do really like the device. It's very simple, it's really classy and slim, which I think makes it really pretty. Another great feature on the Alta is it does show you your text messages and your calls. You do get a preview of the text rolling across the screen. It can be a little bit tricky to see because it's going to scroll across horizontally, so you kind of need to contort your arm a little bit, but it does have those there for you to see. The sort of people that I would recommend the Alta HR for is somebody with a smaller wrist. Like myself, I do have quite slim wrists, and some trackers, I personally don't think they look bulky, but I know some people do think that some of the thicker trackers can look bulky on the wrist. So if you have a thin wrist, you might like to get the Alta HR. If you are a person who likes to have more dainty jewelry and dainty wristwear and stuff like that, you may also prefer the Alta HR because it is a little bit slimmer and a little bit more dainty as opposed to the other higher end Fitbits. Or if you're just wanting to get a slightly slimmer Fitbit that does more than the Fitbit Flex but less than the other Fitbits, I definitely would recommend the Alta HR. I have had no issues with it. Oh, I completely forgot to mention the Fitbit Life battery life on pretty much all of their devices is 5 days. I get slightly less on the Blaze, but I'll talk about that when I get there. But the Alta HR and the Fitbit Flex 2 both have given me at least 5 days battery life. The next Fitbit that we're going to be talking about is the Fitbit Charge 2. Now this is the most recent addition to my Fitbit collection, and I believe this is the most recent Fitbit that they've released. The Fitbit Charge 2 is an upgrade to the Fitbit Charge and the Charge HR, which was my first Fitbit that I ever had. I loved it. My issue with those ones were the bands weren't interchangeable back then, so if the bands broke, your Fitbit was stuffed basically. But the Charge 2 does have clips, and you can unclip the bands to either a leather band or a metal band, I do believe. Now the Fitbit Charge 2 is great because it has quite a large screen, kind of maybe 1.5 times the size of the Alta HR, but I do really like the size of it because it is small but not too small, it's not too big. You can see all of the metrics on the screen. The thing that's really great about the Charge 2, however, is that it does have a button, so it has a proper interface. You can go through the menu and select a whole bunch of things on board the device, which makes it a lot more user-friendly and a lot easier to use. So on those menus, you can select a manual workout mode, which I think is fantastic because it means if you're about to go for a run or if you're about to go do a workout at the gym, you just tap go and it will start tracking your workout. You can choose what type of workout you're doing, and you can set those by using the mobile app. Also on the menu, you can start and stop timers, you can turn on and off alarms. However, I believe the last time that I used my Charge, you had to set them on your iPhone or your phone, and then you can turn them on and off on the actual watch itself. Along with the Charge 2, Fitbit introduced a new thing called Relax, and it's basically a guided breathing little program that you can do for either 2 or 5 minutes. I've done it a few times. It's not something that I find hugely useful, but it's good to have there. I mean, if you guys had anxiety, maybe that would be something that you would find helpful for you in your times when you need something to help you calm down. You also can access your settings on your watch as well, just some basic settings like turning on and off notifications, because the Charge 2 does have notifications just like the Alta HR, but you do get a little bit more information because the watch face is larger. Another big difference with the Charge 2 versus the Alta HR is that you do get something called connected GPS. Basically how it works is if you're going to go for a walk, a run, or I believe a bike ride, you can choose the GPS mode option, and it's going to piggyback off of your phone's GPS, and it's going to track accurately, very accurately track your run, walk, or bike ride. This is really great because it's going to give you the most accurate distance possible, and it's also really cool if you are going for like a cool track. You can see where you've been. I do find that really useful when I'm going for long walks or doing like a track or something like that, because you can see where you went and it is very accurate. It'd be really good if you were training for a marathon or something, because you could be tracking exactly how long you were going, and it also tells you information like how long it took you to do each kilometer, your pace, and all that sort of thing. So it could be really helpful if you were training for some sort of sporting event. I don't know if I mentioned, but it does have a heart rate monitor, and it is really accurate like the other Fitbits. And another thing that I enjoy about it is that it does have the Smart Track feature along with the manual. So if you're doing like a spontaneous workout type exercise, or if you're going dancing or something, it will track that as an exercise, which is really great. Those are the main features on the Charge 2. This Fitbit, to be completely honest, if I hadn't have already tried the Blaze, I would have been completely happy with the Charge 2. Now, I think the Charge 2 is a great Fitbit. If you are wanting to spend like around $300, $250 on a Fitbit, I do believe the Fitbit Charge does drop down a little bit more. I would definitely recommend going for the Charge HR. It is a fantastic model, it is a good size, it is comfortable to wear, and it gives you lots of information in a smaller size for a better price. So yeah, for the majority of people watching this video, I would definitely recommend the Charge 2. Now onto my favourite Fitbit of all, and it is of course the most expensive, but like I said, had I not have tried this Fitbit, I would have totally stuck with the Charge 2. It's basically a smartwatch fitness watch hybrid. I don't know how much I agree with that because it is not really a smartwatch, but I'll talk to you about the features and you guys can be the judge. So the main difference with the Fitbit Blaze, in my opinion, is the screen. So like I said, it is a color screen, which is really the main reason why I can't go back to using a Charge, because I've had a color screen and I really love it. It does also have better notifications. So on all of the other Fitbits, once you've viewed the notification, it disappears. Like There's no going back and checking them or anything like that. Once they're gone, they're gone. On this Fitbit, you can connect way more apps. Like you can connect Snapchat, you can connect WhatsApp, you can connect basically anything that sends you a push notification and it'll show up on your watch. You can't respond to texts, tweets, anything like that. You can just see them in their entirety. Also, if you wanted to go back and check them, you can just swipe up on the watch and you can look through all of your notifications there. When you have a call incoming, you can also choose on the watch whether to answer or hang up the call. You can't, however, talk from the watch. It just is a little bit more handy. Like quite often I'll answer a phone call if I'm running for my phone and be like, I'm coming, and then it stops the phone call from hanging up, if that makes any sense. There are also music controls on here, so if you swipe down on the watch, you can play, pause, fast forward, rewind, and turn the volume up and down on the on your phone music, which I think is really helpful. I use it quite a lot at school with my kids because we play music quite a lot, so I can leave my phone plugged into the speakers and I can control it from my watch, which is quite helpful. All of the other features are still the same on here. You have a heart rate monitor, which is the most accurate out of all of the Fitbits that I've tried. You do also have manual and smart track fitness modes, and you do have connected GPS on this one, just like on the Charge 2. This Fitbit also has a feature called Fitstar. Now Fitstar is basically like little mini workout videos that you can look at on your Fitbit. Do I use them all the time? No. Are they cool to have? Yes. If you are not very like into the gym and you just want some quick workouts, there are 3 preset on here that you can look through and watch, and they are actually quite helpful to look at, and it does start a workout mode when you go into it, so it does track your workout. There is also the relax mode that I was talking about earlier, the guided breathing. You do also have a timer, a countdown, and a stopwatch. Is that what it's called? Stopwatch? And then of course you do have the silent alarms and sleep tracking. The cool thing about this Fitbit is you can actually create alarms on it because it does have the more sort of dynamic touch screen. So those are the main features on the Fitbit Blaze. Really, I think if you are wanting like a color screen, a little bit bigger, a little bit more user-friendly Fitbit, I would go for the Blaze. But if you're looking at getting the Blaze, I personally, if you're like wanting to buy one like right now, would either go for the Charge 2 or hold out for the new Fitbit Ionic, because I'm sure that one, from what I've seen, it has a plethora of features that the Fitbit Blaze does not. So if you can be patient, just wait a few more, like a month and a half or a month or so, and then you'll be able to have the top of the line Fitbit. Alright, so that is my ultimate Fitbit review. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. So all in all, my favourite Fitbit that I would recommend to you guys is the Fitbit Charge 2. So yeah, let me know, do you guys own a Fitbit? Do you guys want a Fitbit? What one would you get if you could choose? Because if I lost my Fitbit today and it exploded, I would definitely go and buy a Charge 2 because it is the best value for money and the best set of features. But yeah, I'd love to know if you guys are into Fitbits as well, or if this is your first sort of introduction to Fitbits, what do you think? Please let me know down below. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up because it helps me out so much. Thank you guys again for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!